You always thought these characters were just movie magic? Well, you were dead wrong. Behind those terrifying prosthetics, heavy armor, and grotesque faces are incredibly talented black actors you never even realized. Aliens, monstrous creatures, iconic characters, each one brought to life by these actors, yet their names remain hidden beneath layers of makeup weighing dozens of pounds. You've seen them on screen countless times, but can you say for sure that you know who they are? If I didn't tell you, you'd never guess. So, brace yourself for some jaw-dropping revelations, because the truth behind these 33 legendary characters will leave you stunned. 33rd. Eddie Murphy. The greatest hoax in Hollywood with his jaw-dropping Jewish grandpa transformation. Eddie Murphy, the king of 1980s comedy, revolutionized American humor with his unmatched versatility. But beyond being just a comedian, he was a master of disguise, time and time again leaving audiences in utter disbelief. However, his greatest transformation of all? None other than Saul, the Jewish grandpa from Coming to America, 1988. A performance so flawless that even people working on set had no idea it was him. When the movie premiered, audiences were left in total shock. How could a black actor morph so seamlessly into an old Jewish man with the perfect look and accent? Murphy spent 3 hours each day sitting still while makeup artists transformed him into an elderly man, complete with silver hair, a bushy mustache, and deep wrinkles. But makeup alone wasn't enough. What made Saul legendary was Murphy's ridiculously convincing performance. The old man grumbled about everything from politics to sports, had a hunched-over walk, a raspy voice, and slow, deliberate movements that screamed senile old-timer. Even his co-stars didn't recognize him. When the film hit theaters on June 29, 1988, some people even demanded to meet this elderly actor to praise his work. No one realized the ultimate Hollywood trick until Murphy himself revealed it, leaving the industry in awe. This legendary transformation paved the way for Murphy's future multi-character roles, proving he was in a league of his own. 32. Kevin Peter Hall, the Predator who terrified Arnold Schwarzenegger. Kevin Peter Hall was a true giant. Standing at an imposing 7 feet 2 inches, he turned Predator into Hollywood's worst nightmare. More than just an actor, he was an absolute legend in the world of cinematic monsters. The high-tech armor, the horrifying mandibles, the glowing red eyes, Predator became an irreplaceable icon. But behind that terrifying mask, Hall endured unimaginable hardships that few could even fathom. Initially, Predator was supposed to look completely different. Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast for the role, but at just 5 feet 9 inches, he looked like a weakling next to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hollywood needed a true beast, and that's when Kevin Peter Hall stepped in. But in return, he had to endure a suffocating rubber suit in Mexico's 100-degree Fahrenheit jungle heat. Trapped in what felt like a mobile prison, Hall suffered from constant dehydration, at times nearly collapsing on set. But here's what most people don't know. This merciless killer actually appeared without the Predator mask in the final scene. When the monster is defeated, Hall reappears as the helicopter pilot rescuing Arnold Schwarzenegger from the battlefield. No one realized that the same actor who had terrorized the cast all movie long was now their savior. After this breakout role, Hall reprised his part in Predator 2 before his untimely death in 1991. But Predator lives on, haunting the big screen for decades, thanks to Kevin Peter Hall. 31. Danny John Jules, the most fabulous space cat in TV history. Danny John Jules isn't just an actor, he's a Red Dwarf legend. With his flamboyant wardrobe, swaggering strut, and razor-sharp teeth, his character, Cat, became a sci-fi comedy icon. But behind that dazzling exterior was a dramatic behind-the-scenes battle to keep his role, high-fashion costume budgets that skyrocketed, and a near-replacement scandal that sent the fandom into a frenzy. Danny was originally a professional dancer, performing on stage with music superstars. But his life changed forever when he became Cat in 1988. Cat wasn't just an evolved feline. He was a pimped-out showman, rocking silk suits, shiny shoes, and a cocky attitude as if he owned the universe. But by the mid-90s, Red Dwarf faced a potential cast shakeup, and Danny was on the verge of losing his role. Had it not been for intense fan backlash, Cat could have been recast with a different actor. But the wildest part? That pink suit he wore in a 1999 episode cost £5,000, more expensive than a car at the time. Turns out Danny had the highest wardrobe budget of the entire cast because, let's face it, Cat could never look basic. Over 30 years later, he remains one of the most beloved characters in Red Dwarf, cementing its place at the pinnacle of sci-fi sitcom history. 30. David Alan Grier, the rebellious clown who took over 90s TV. David Alan Grier is a comedy powerhouse, but it was Homie D. Clown that made him a phenomenon. Debuting in Living Color in 1990, Homie was the anti-clown, a scowling, foul-mouthed jester with a messy orange wig, a loud outfit, and an attitude completely opposite from the happy-go-lucky clowns people were used to. No fake smiles, no goofy tricks, just pure frustration, sarcasm, and the legendary catchphrase, "Homie, don't play that." And then, boom, Homie became a cultural phenomenon. His catchphrase was everywhere, on t-shirts, posters, and even street graffiti. But here's what almost no one knows. Grier nearly lost the role because he was deemed too nice. Producers doubted whether he could bring the level of rage and cynicism the character needed. But the moment he stepped into the audition, he transformed. Homie wasn't just a grumpy clown. He was an ex-con forced into clown servitude who constantly resisted authority and refused to be anyone's entertainment. That raw energy made him an instant fan favorite. By 1994, when In Living Color ended, Homie retired. But his legacy remains untouchable. One of Grier's most iconic performances and proof that a comedy character can leave a real cultural impact. 29. Eartha Kitt, from seductive queen to creepy old witch that haunted an entire town. Eartha Kitt was Hollywood royalty, captivating audiences with her mesmerizing voice and undeniable allure. But in 1991, she shocked everyone by transforming into a deranged old woman living in isolation. In Ernest Scared Stupid, Old Lady Hackmore appeared with wild white hair, deeply wrinkled skin, piercing eyes, and a gravelly voice filled with raw intensity. No longer the queen of seduction, she had become a living ghost haunting an entire town. This character wasn't just a crazy old lady, she was the only one who knew about the terrifying trolls that were about to be unleashed. In the film, her warning scene became legendary. What people don't know? Eartha Kitt delivered such an unnervingly real performance that she genuinely freaked out the cast. Eyes wide, voice shaking, she looked downright possessed. So much so that the director didn't even need to edit the footage because it was too real. Some even believe that Old Lady Hackmore was based on an actual 19th century urban legend, making the whole thing even creepier. Thanks to Kitt's chilling performance, this character became an iconic figure in horror comedy history, a transformation no one expected, but one that left an unforgettable mark on 1990s audiences. 28. Tony Cox, the predatory leprechaun that terrified an entire town. Tony Cox, a seasoned actor known for his striking roles, famous for his small stature but powerful acting skills. And in 1994, he shocked all of Hollywood by transforming into a terrifying monster in Leprechaun 2, a bloodthirsty goblin obsessed with gold and willing to kill for it. With grayish-green skin, bloodshot eyes, and razor-sharp teeth, this character haunted audiences and left many sleepless at night. Before that, Warwick Davis played the Leprechaun in the first film. But in Leprechaun 2, several high-speed chase and attack scenes were assigned to Tony Cox. The most memorable scene was the goblin chasing its prey through a dark alley. No cables, no CGI, Tony Cox had to run, for real, and not just once. The director made him do it 5 times to get the perfect shot, leaving Tony so exhausted he nearly passed out on set. But that wasn't even the worst part. The bulky costume, the suffocating rubber layers, and a mask weighing nearly 5 kilograms made it almost impossible to breathe while filming. At one point, Cox was so dehydrated he collapsed on set, sending the entire crew into panic mode. But despite everything, his terrifying performance left audiences trembling. While Leprechaun 2 didn't succeed at the box office, Tony Cox's chilling portrayal of the Goblin remains forever etched in the memories of horror fans. 27. Wesley Snipes, the stunning queen that left Hollywood in shock. Wesley Snipes, the action star known for his badass fight scenes, suddenly transformed into a glamorous beauty queen in To Wong Foo. Thanks for Everything. Julie Newmar, 1995. No more high-speed chases, no more intense battles. This time, Snipes dazzled in shimmering gowns, high heels, and full-on queenly elegance, becoming Noxeema Jackson, a fierce, bold drag queen who commanded every gaze. Before this role, Snipes was synonymous with masculinity and toughness. But for To Wong Foo, he had to completely rebuild himself from scratch, learning how to walk, pose, and even wink seductively. And you know what was the hardest part? High heels. Every day Snipes wore them for 12 hours straight, to the point his feet swelled and turned blue. Sometimes the pain was so unbearable he had to soak his feet in ice water right on set. Yet on screen, Noxeema Jackson moved with grace and radiated undeniable charisma. And here's a little-known fact. This role almost went to RuPaul, the legendary drag queen. But in the end, the producers chose Snipes to draw in a wider audience. And they were right. The film was a massive box office hit and turned Snipes into an unexpected icon in the LGBTQ+ community. Though he later returned to action films, his queen persona as Noxeema Jackson remains an unforgettable highlight of his career. 26. Michael Dorn, the immortal Klingon warrior of Star Trek. Michael Dorn isn't just a Star Trek actor. He's the most frequently appearing character in the franchise's history. For over 15 years, he embodied Worf, the honorable Klingon warrior, starring in Star Trek: The Next Generation, 1987 to 1994, Deep Space Nine, 1995 to 1999, and multiple films. With a total of 282 episodes, Dorn cemented Worf as an irreplaceable legend. To become Worf, Dorn endured a grueling 2 to 3 hour makeup process daily, with thick prosthetics glued to his forehead. After filming, it took another hour to remove everything. This cycle repeated over 1,000 times throughout his career. But the craziest part? Worf was almost written out in the first season. Initially, producers weren't sure if a Klingon in Starfleet would work. At one point, scripts even considered killing off Worf early on. But thanks to Dorn's commanding performance and overwhelming fan support, Worf not only survived, but became one of the franchise's most beloved characters. After The Next Generation ended, Dorn pitched a Worf spin-off series, The Captain Worf Chronicles, but the project never materialized. Still, there's no denying that Worf reshaped how audiences viewed Klingons, turning them from villains into a proud, complex culture. A character once on the brink of being erased ended up becoming an immortal Star Trek icon. 25. Tyler Perry, the 6 feet 5 inch man who transformed into a legendary grandma. Tyler Perry isn't just an actor, he's a cultural phenomenon. Thanks to his portrayal of Medea, a no-nonsense, hilarious yet heartfelt grandmother, Perry built a multi-million-dollar film empire. With a total box office revenue of over $670 million, the Medea franchise became one of the most successful independent film series in Hollywood history. And the craziest part? Medea was never meant to be a main character. In 1999, during the stage play I Can Do Bad All by Myself, Perry originally planned for Medea to have a brief appearance. But the audience's reaction was insane. They wanted more. Perry delivered, and just like that, Medea became the centerpiece of a franchise spanning over 2 decades. Yet behind the laughter, Perry suffered immensely. Every time he transformed into Medea, he endured an hour-long process of putting on a wig, stuffing himself into a fat suit, and, worst of all, wearing high heels. At one point, he tripped and fell flat on his face on set, sending the entire crew into fits of laughter. But no matter how much Perry tried to escape Medea, fans wouldn't let him. In 2019, he announced he was retiring the character, but less than 2 years later, Medea returned due to overwhelming demand. Even former U.S. President Barack Obama once acknowledged Medea, calling her a cultural phenomenon. It's unbelievable that a character born from a last-minute whim has now become an American icon. 24. Zoe Saldana, the Blue Warrior who took Avatar to historic heights. Zoe Saldana didn't just play a character, she created a legend. As Neytiri in Avatar, 2009, she became the heart of the highest-grossing film of all time, $2.92 billion. And the most shocking part? She never actually appeared on screen. Every image of Neytiri was crafted using motion capture technology. For over 2 years, Saldana wore a skin-tight suit covered in sensors, recording every facial twitch and body movement. When the film was finally completed, she was so overwhelmed by how realistic Neytiri looked that she burst into tears. But embodying Neytiri wasn't just about acting. Saldana had to become a true Na'vi. 6 months of intense training, learning archery, horseback riding, and climbing like a wildcat, all to create the most breathtaking action sequences. The result? Neytiri became a cinematic icon. Avatar shattered every box office record, and Saldana became the only actress with 3 films crossing the $2 billion mark. When Avatar, The Way of Water, 2022 was released, audiences were once again transported into Pandora, and Neytiri remained as mesmerizing as ever. A character built through technology, but immortalized by Zoe Saldana's soul. 23rd. Djimon Hounsou, the ancient wizard who shaped the entire DC universe. Djimon Hounsou didn't just play a minor role, he was the source of Shazam's power. With his deep, commanding voice and mysterious presence, Hounsou turned the wizard into a weighty figure, despite only appearing for a few minutes in Shazam, 2019. But what's even more incredible is that no one expected him to take on this role. In the comics, the wizard is a weary, energy-depleted sorcerer who has spent thousands of years protecting magic. But when casting the film, the production team shocked everyone by choosing Djimon Hounsou, a 54-year-old actor who was still full of life, power, and authority. And their choice was spot on. In just a few brief scenes, Hounsou made audiences believe he was the wielder of immense power. But to embody this character, he had to endure grueling filming conditions. A thick, heavy cloak, long, silvery hair and beard, all in a sweltering set with constant bright lights. Yet Hounsou never complained and delivered an outstanding performance. And in that same year, 2019, he also stepped into the Marvel Universe as Korath in Captain Marvel. From DC to Marvel, from ancient sorcery to intergalactic warfare, Djimon Hounsou has solidified his status as an irreplaceable actor in the superhero genre. 22nd, Naomie Harris, the enigmatic witch who terrified the entire ocean. Naomie Harris isn't just a talented actress. She brought Tia Dalma to life, the eerie, seductive, yet dangerously unpredictable character in Pirates of the Caribbean. With her wild appearance, piercing gaze, and enigmatic smile, she turned this voodoo witch into one of the most haunting figures in the franchise. Few people know that to achieve this unique look, Naomie Harris had to let go of her usual beauty. Makeup artists stained her teeth yellow, dirtied her skin, and tangled her hair into an untamed mess, creating a character both captivating and terrifying. At first, Tia Dalma seemed like a powerful witch, living in isolation, delivering chilling prophecies. But in At World's End, 2007, a horrifying truth was revealed. She was actually Calypso, the sea goddess trapped in human form. When freed, she transformed into a towering entity and dissolved into thousands of crabs, unleashing chaos across the ocean. This groundbreaking role caught the attention of James Bond producers, leading to her casting as Eve Moneypenny in Skyfall, 2012. 21st, Michael Jai White, the Hellborn hero who paved the way for a generation of black superheroes. Michael Jai White is a renowned action star, but many don't realize he was a pioneer, shattering Hollywood's boundaries by becoming the first black superhero on the big screen. His role as Spawn in the 1997 film made him a legend, paving the way for later blockbusters like Blade and Black Panther. But landing this iconic role came with brutal challenges that few know about. Spawn isn't a charming, glamorous superhero like Batman or Superman. He's a tormented soul cast into hell, his body burned beyond recognition. Charred skin, glowing eyes, a massive crimson cape that moves like it's alive, and chains ready to strangle any foe. Michael Jai White had to endure 6-hour makeup sessions every day, covered in thick, suffocating prosthetics, sweating profusely under the heat. But that wasn't even the worst part. With a budget of only $40 million, the film aimed for grand CGI effects, but the results were disastrous. Even so, Spawn gained a cult following, cementing its place as a dark superhero icon. Over 20 years later, Hollywood still hasn't forgotten Spawn. A reboot has already been announced. 20. Lupita Nyong'o, the mysterious woman who lived for 1,000 years in the Star Wars universe. Oscar-winning actress Lupita Nyong'o entered the Star Wars universe in a role unlike anything she had ever played before. Maz Kanata, a tiny, 1,000-year-old being, not a Jedi but deeply attuned to the Force. With her wrinkled face, large glowing eyes, and enigmatic aura, Maz resembled a female Yoda, holding countless galactic secrets. Unlike most mysterious characters, Lupita didn't rely on heavy prosthetics or elaborate costumes. Instead, she spent months perfecting her performance through motion capture. Wearing a skin-tight suit covered in sensors, every tiny movement was recorded to create Maz Kanata entirely through CGI. The surprising part? Director J.J. Abrams initially wanted Lupita in Star Wars but couldn't find a fitting role. So he created Maz Kanata specifically for her, inspired by her commanding presence and distinctive voice. Maz even had a major action scene, using the Force to battle First Order troops, but it was ultimately cut because she was too powerful compared to her original concept. 19th. Adewale Akinnuoye Agbaje, the crocodile monster who terrified Hollywood. Adewale Akinnuoye Agbaje has played many villains, but as Killer Croc, a monstrous half-human, half-crocodile mutant, he embodied pure terror without needing CGI. With rough, scaly skin, cold, predatory eyes, and razor-sharp teeth, Killer Croc exuded primal brutality, unlike any other character in Suicide Squad, 2016. But stepping into this role took a severe toll on both his body and mind. Every day, Adewale had to endure 5 to 6 hours of makeup as artists painstakingly built his reptilian skin using 11 layers of special silicone covering his face and body. No CGI, no digital tricks, everything was real. What's more shocking? Adewale himself refused CGI because he wanted to feel the character. But that decision turned into a nightmare as the heavy prosthetics made breathing difficult. Eventually, he vowed never to play this role again. Yet the most painful part wasn't the makeup. It was how much of his work was left on the cutting room floor. Originally, Killer Croc had an ultra-violent sewer fight scene, but it was removed from the theatrical release. Even so, with his grotesque appearance and cold gangster demeanor, Adewale's Killer Croc became one of Suicide Squad's most unforgettable characters. 18. Peter Jared Macon, the alien lieutenant who commanded the respect of an entire crew. Peter Jared Macon isn't just a standout voice actor. He's the soul of Lieutenant Bortus, a Moklan warrior in the Orville, 2017 to present. With a chiseled, stone-like face, imposing physique, and piercing gaze, Bortus radiates authority and strength. But beneath that tough exterior lies a complex, deeply emotional character. What many don't know is that transforming into Bortus pushed Peter Macon to his physical limits. Each day, he spent 2 to 3 hours in the makeup chair, enduring layers of silicone prosthetics, fake teeth, and special contact lenses, all to become a true Moklan warrior. His futuristic uniform was so stifling that he often felt like he was suffocating, but he endured it all for the sake of authenticity. His deep, resonant voice, already a huge asset in his voice-acting career, impressed the Orville creator Seth MacFarlane so much that he was cast immediately. And indeed, Bortus isn't just powerful, he carries an aura of superiority, dignity, and unexpected humor. What's even crazier? Peter Macon almost turned down the role, afraid his face would be completely hidden under makeup. But in the end, that bold choice led him to create one of modern sci-fi's most iconic characters. 17. Idris Elba, the brutal villain hiding behind a monster's mask. Few people know that Idris Elba, the British actor, singer, and DJ who won a Golden Globe, was actually Krall, the most dangerous enemy in Star Trek Beyond, 2016. A monstrous alien warrior with grayish-blue skin, chilling yellow eyes, and a deeply ridged face, Krall exuded pure brutality and bloodlust. But the truth behind his terrifying appearance was even more shocking. To become Krall, Elba had to endure 4 hours of makeup every day, encased in a stifling layer of silicone that covered his entire face. But what shocked him the most was the secret hidden in the script. Krall was actually Balthazar Edison, a former Starfleet commander who had been betrayed and grotesquely transformed after decades of absorbing alien energy. Even Elba himself had no idea about this twist when he first took on the role. Thanks to this jaw-dropping revelation and Elba's masterful performance, Krall became one of Star Trek's most memorable villains, a perfect blend of rage, tragedy, and unhinged violence. 16. Laz Alonso, the proud warrior who was brutally wiped out in Avatar. Laz Alonso didn't just voice but fully embodied Tsute, the mightiest warrior of the Omaticaya clan in Avatar, 2009. With his blue skin, piercing golden eyes, and towering muscular build, Tsute was the epitome of a noble fighter, willing to lay down his life for his people. To bring the character to life, Alonso wore a motion capture suit that recorded his every move down to the smallest detail. To convey Tsute's regal presence, he deliberately spoke slowly, firmly, and with authority. James Cameron wanted the character to have a commanding presence, so he instructed Alonso to speak more like a king than a typical warrior. Despite the challenges, his efforts paid off. Before Avatar, Alonso was mostly cast in minor action films. But after playing Tsute, his career took off. He went on to star in Fast and Furious, 2009, and, most recently, The Boys, 2019 present, where he plays Mother's Milk, a key character in the hit superhero series. 15. Chad Coleman, Clyden, the Orville's most controversial character. Chad Coleman transformed into Clyden, a tough, conservative, and deeply conflicted Moklan in the Orville, 2017 to present. With his rugged features, cold black eyes, and rough-textured skin, Clyden embodied a strict and rigid culture. What many don't know is that Coleman was almost rejected for the role because his voice was too warm. He had to train himself to speak in a deeper, harsher tone to match Clyden's personality. Every day, he spent over 3 hours in makeup, enduring thick layers of silicone, special contact lenses, and a 22-pound armored suit. Not only did his character have a rough start, but Clyden was nearly written out of the series for being too controversial. However, he ultimately remained and became one of the Orville's most divisive figures. 14. Forrest Whitaker, Zuri, the keeper of Wakanda's darkest secret. Forrest Whitaker brought to life Zuri, a wise elder who held Wakanda's most hidden truths in Black Panther, 2018. With his world-weary eyes, royal purple robes, and ceremonial staff in hand, Zuri exuded both mystique and a heavy burden. Initially, the character was meant to be a minor role, but Marvel rewrote the script to take full advantage of Whitaker's talent. His confrontation scene with Killmonger was extended to show the depth of his inner turmoil, a performance so intense that it left Michael B. Jordan shaken. Though Zuri only appeared in one film, his absence left a lasting impact, and many fans believe he could return in future Wakanda installments. 13. Jennifer Hudson, Memory saved an entire cinematic disaster. Jennifer Hudson played Grizabella, the outcast cat in Cats, 2019. With her dull gray fur, tear-filled eyes, and frail, trembling body, Grizabella had nothing left but pain and memories of her lost glory. But when she sang Memory, the world stood still. Even though Cats was a box office disaster, Hudson's voice was universally praised. What's even more astonishing, she actually cried for real while singing. To maintain the raw emotion and vocal intensity, Hudson kept her tears in a tissue and stored them in the fridge before reshooting. She believed that authentic emotion was the key to portraying Grizabella. Her performance was so breathtaking that even those who hated the film had to admit Jennifer Hudson was its only saving grace. 12th CCH Pounder, the mysterious priestess of Pandora who earned James Cameron's respect. In Avatar 2009, CCH Pounder played Moat, the spiritual leader of the Omaticaya. Tall, commanding, with piercing eyes that held both wisdom and power, she was a figure both sacred and intimidating, bridging the Na'vi with Awa. James Cameron cast Pounder after hearing just one line of dialogue. Her voice alone was that commanding. But playing Moat was no simple feat. She had to wear hundreds of motion capture sensors, master the fluid movements of the Na'vi, and perform for 18 months. When Avatar shattered box office records, even Pounder was stunned. She never imagined she would become part of a cinematic legend spanning over a decade. 11th, Regina King, the shadowy warrior nun who struck fear in Watchmen. Regina King was electrifying in Watchmen 2019 as Sister Night, a cop-turned-masked vigilante. Clad in a nun's robe, her face hidden behind a black mask, her piercing gaze seemed to cut through every lie. A figure both terrifying and mesmerizing. Initially, King doubted she could pull it off. But with unwavering determination, she spent 6 months training in martial arts, performing her own stunts, and pushing herself to the point of exhaustion. When the show premiered, she didn't just dominate the screen. She took home an Emmy. Regina King had become a force that Hollywood couldn't ignore. 10th, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, the ultimate twist that left the world stunned in Watchmen. From an ordinary man to a godlike blue entity, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II's transformation into Dr. Manhattan was one of television's most mind-blowing reveals. To prepare for the role, he endured 5 months of intense physical training, gaining 22 pounds of muscle to embody the supernatural aura of the character. But during production, the true identity of Dr. Manhattan was kept a top-secret twist. Even Yahya himself wasn't told until after he had already accepted the role. The rest of the cast was equally in the dark, except for Regina King. Yahya recalled, "When I got to that page in the script, I put it down, walked outside and thought, am I really playing Dr. Manhattan?" Despite the shock, his performance earned him an Emmy, launching him from obscurity to legend. 9. David Harewood, the shocking deception that turned him from a villain into Supergirl's greatest hero. On the CW's Supergirl, David Harewood plays John Johns, aka Martian Manhunter, one of DC's most powerful heroes. With deep green skin, a bald, veiny head, glowing red eyes, and a sleek black and red battlesuit, he cuts an imposing figure. At first, Harewood thought he was playing Hank Henshaw, the villainous cyborg Superman. He prepared to be the ultimate cold-blooded antagonist, only for the producers to drop a bombshell in Episode 7, "You're not Hank Henshaw. You're Martian Manhunter, one of DC's greatest heroes." The pressure was immense. By Season 2, Harewood suffered from severe anxiety and had to see a therapist. But he persevered, appearing in 126 episodes and becoming Supergirl's second most important character. His performance won over fans and helped keep the show running for years. 8. Chadwick Boseman, the lonely god of wisdom amidst a cinematic disaster. Chadwick Boseman once portrayed Thoth, the powerful god of wisdom, in Gods of Egypt, 2016. The irony? In a film heavily criticized for whitewashing its cast, he was the only flame keeping a shred of ancient Egyptian soul alive. Dazzling golden armor, a regal presence. But Boseman wasn't just acting. He fought to preserve at least one dignified black representation. The movie flopped miserably, yet Thoth still shined. And just 2 years later, he made history with Black Panther, forever changing Hollywood. In an interview, he once said, "Thoth helped me understand that I can't just be an actor. I have to be a voice for my community." 7. Omar Sy, the cold-blooded mutant warrior brutally erased. Not everyone knows that Omar Sy played Bishop, the mutant from a dystopian future, in X-Men, Days of Future Past, 2014. Tall, muscular, dreadlocked, wielding a massive energy gun, he was the last line of defense for mutant kind. Before casting, director Bryan Singer had already eyed Omar Sy for Bishop, knowing he was a die-hard action fan and had proven his acting chops in The Untouchables, 2011. Singer once said Omar had an intense aura, a free-spirited style, perfect for a battle-hardened warrior from the future. Bishop exuded a cold, silent intensity, just as Omar played him. But the cruel twist? Bishop originally had jaw-dropping action scenes, only to be mercilessly cut when the film hit theaters. 6. Oprah Winfrey, the majestic cosmic goddess who was forgotten. Not many remember that Oprah Winfrey once played Mrs. Witch, a powerful celestial being in A Wrinkle in Time, 2018. Director Ava DuVernay personally called Oprah to offer her the role. At first, Oprah thought Ava was just inviting her out, but it turned out to be a casting offer for a cosmic entity. With a divine presence, voluminous platinum hair, and a voice that echoed like it came from a distant galaxy, she appeared in all her glory, guiding the protagonist through interdimensional challenges. Yet despite a massive budget and sky-high expectations, the film bombed spectacularly. In the end, Mrs. Witch was grand, Oprah shined, but audiences barely remembered. 5. Danny Sapani, a powerful leader overshadowed in Black Panther. You may have watched Black Panther multiple times, but did you know Danny Sapani played Makathu, the leader of the River Tribe in Black Panther, 2018? Dressed in regal blue robes, crowned with an intricately designed shell headdress, he stood with dignity in Wakanda's tribal council. But his role was painfully underutilized. Makathu was loyal, strong, and opposed Killmonger's rule, only to nearly disappear when the film hit theaters. Even as Black Panther dominated with over $1.34 billion at the box office and cemented itself in history, Makathu remained overshadowed by Wakanda's powerhouse ensemble. 4. Laverne Cox, the new Doctor, Frank N. Furter. Bold, seductive, yet controversial. Laverne Cox set the screen on fire in the Rocky Horror Picture Show Let's Do the Time Warp Again, 2016, as Dr. Frank-N-Furter, the ultimate symbol of queer rebellion. Dressed in sleek leather corsets, fishnet stockings, and blood-red lips, Cox was provocative yet retained the original eerie charm. This role was revolutionary for her, but also divisive. Nostalgic fans rejected the reinvention, while critics praised Cox's modern feminist edge. Though she didn't surpass the legendary Tim Curry, she left a mark impossible to forget. 3. Lenny Henry, the first Elder Harfoot, yet the most controversial in Middle-earth. Lenny Henry made history as the first black actor to portray a Harfoot in The Rings of Power, 2022. He played Sadoc Burrows, a wise and mysterious elder. With a weathered face and tattered cloak, Henry brought forth a never-before-seen portrayal of Harfoots on screen. But his presence ignited a firestorm among Tolkien fans, who argued that hobbits in previous adaptations had always been white. Despite the backlash, Henry gave it his all. A lifelong Tolkien fan, he had dreamed of being part of Middle-earth since childhood. When cast as Sadoc Burrows, he reportedly screamed with joy, calling it the peak of his career. His dedication was so intense that he spent 16 hours filming his haunting sacrifice scene in the finale. He admitted it was the hardest scene of his career, but also his proudest. 2. Tina Turner, the Steel Empress who ruled the post-apocalyptic world. Tina Turner stepped from music legend straight into the wasteland of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 1985, as Auntie Entity, the ruthless ruler of Bartertown. Director George Miller chose her for the role because he wanted someone with both strength and regal authority. Tina Turner had no prior acting experience, but her fierce personality and superstar presence made her a perfect fit. She even endured minor injuries while performing some of her own action scenes, especially the intense showdown with Max, Mel Gibson, refusing to use a stunt double. Dressed in a 55-pound silver-plated armor suit, exuding the aura of an untouchable queen, she became one of the most terrifying female villains of the 80s. And she didn't stop there. Her smash hit We Don't Need Another Hero sent the movie soaring into pop culture immortality. 1. Grace Jones, the vampire queen who didn't need a single line to terrify the screen. There's a Hollywood icon who didn't need to utter a single word to leave audiences haunted. That was Grace Jones in Vamp, 1986, where she embodied Katrina, the ultimate vampire queen, enigmatic and deadly. With a shaved head, ghostly pale skin, and a shimmering metallic bodysuit that looked like it came from an alien civilization, she appeared as a predatory goddess straight out of hell. Originally, Katrina had lines in the script, but Grace Jones demanded they be cut. She believed her body and expressions alone could convey all the menace and allure needed without a single spoken word. Not only did she erase all her dialogue, but she also bit her co-star Robert Rusler for real, terrifying him because she had become so deep into the role, turning her transformation scene into a nightmarish classic. And there you have it, 33 black actors hidden behind layers of makeup and prosthetics that you never knew about. They endured hours of grueling transformations to bring the most unforgettable characters to life on screen. Which one impressed you the most? Was there a character so shocking it made your jaw drop? Comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss more jaw-dropping, mind-blowing stories from the wild world of Hollywood.